So I think it's time I'm going to make my prediction for what Andy Farrell is going to pick in his British and Irish Lions tour. Obviously, we've got about a month to go and things can change with injuries and some form, say, in the Champions Cup. But I've been pondering it for a long time, putting players in and out. So I think now it's time to draw a line in it and let you guys have a look and tell me what you think. Get the feedback, because it's all good fun. And yeah, I think I'm pretty sure on some of these and really not sure on some others. Of course, we know the coaching lineup, which could affect things as well. And there's a real fun poll tracker to see which players are trending on my starting lineup. I know a lot of you guys played this in the Six Nations, and I know some of you actually won. I know definitely one of our viewers won and is going to the Lions Captain's Dinner, which is awesome. But if you just register, you get a free play on this one, and just put a 15 in there of Lions players and we can track to see who's trending. I'll probably delve into that at some point. But yeah, I'll put the link down below, but it's just my starting lineup. Register, get a free play there just to go into the poll and see what other people are choosing. So let's just get straight into it. Who do I think that Farrell is going to choose? I think he's going to go at loosehead prop, nice and simple to start. Ellis Genge, Andrew Porter and Pierre Schoeman. I do not see anyone getting into that. I think the only question is, who is the backup? And I'm not really sure. Is it Nicky Smith? Is it Rory Sutherland? I don't know, but those three I think are definitely getting selected. Let me know if I'm wrong when they get picked, but I'm saying that is for certain. But there's only one hooker for certain, and that's Dan Sheehan. I think he will be the starter as well, because he's just all-round amazing. He's got the athletic ability and the technical ability, and he can operate out wide incredibly well. I think Farrell will go for one out-and-out technician, and that's between Jamie George and Dave Cherry, guys who are amazing in the line-out, who are not going to do anything wrong. And I think George's experience might just edge it and get him on a tour there. So Sheehan and George, and then where does he go? Does he go for the power of Karen Dickey? Does he go for Kelleher, a bit more athletic? Or does he go for the brute force carrying of Dewey Lake? And I don't think there's an outstanding candidate there, as in they're all good, but no one really head and tails above the other. And then where does he go from there? He could definitely go for another English hooker and Karen Dickey, who's been a good all-round player, gets really stuck in. Kelleher is maybe the most close to Sheehan, and then Lake is just a power carrier. And I've just got a feeling, even though Lake didn't play much in the Six Nations, they might take a punt and take a power hooker and have Sheehan as the athlete, the all-rounder, George as the line-out king, and Lake as the impact guy. Just got a feeling there, but not 100% sure on the third one, or maybe even the second one. At tight head, I'm a bit more sure. I'm saying Xander Fagerson, Will Stewart and Tyg Furlong. I think Furlong's experience takes it over Finlay Bealham, although Bealham, I think, would be the call-up guy if there was an injury. People talking about Kyle Sinclair maybe coming back into it, but I don't see that one at all, and I don't really see anyone else challenging. So those four, but Fagerson, Stewart and Furlong going. Second row, I'm saying he takes 5, and I think 4 of them for me are pretty certain. Tyburn, Maratoje, I think definitely certain. Great experience as well from those two. Chesham as the lineout operator, a bit more athletic. McCarthy, Joe McCarthy is the big brute. And then where does he go? Well, I think it's between 3. I think it's between James Ryan, more experienced, Dafford Jenkins, the tackling machine, and George Martin, a bit more of a power guy. So it's kind of take your pick there. Maybe they'll go for the extreme power and take George Martin. Then into the highly competitive back row, and I'm saying he takes 8. He's going to take Caelan Doris, absolutely no doubt. He's a class operator. He knows all about him, as he does Conan and Van der Fleer. I think Van der Fleer is definitely going, although I think he just missed out on my selection, but he's incredibly experienced. He's been World Player of the Year. He's a class operator, a test match animal, and I think Farrell will take him. I think he's going to take Tom Curry. I think he knows he's a class player when he's fully fit, and he can play 6 and 7. He's proven it, and I think he probably edges out people like his brother, Ben Curry, Rory Darge maybe. Pollock's been said to be a bit of a bolter, but then if you take Ben Earl, which I think they will, you've got a quick guy there as well. So maybe you don't need that speed of Pollock, so I just don't quite see that one. Plus I do think Morgan's going as well, who is a very quick guy. And I think Jack Willis goes. I think they just can't ignore that test match animal that is Jack Willis. Yes, he's not been playing for England, but he's been playing in the Champions Cup for the best side in France, in Toulouse, and he's an absolute beast, and it might be a big mistake not to take him. So I think he goes as a 6 or a 7. The forwards coach is Scottish, John DL, so I do think they will take at least one. Do they go for the jackling of Ritchie or the more power of Matt Fagerson? And looking at the balance, maybe they'll go for a bit more power of Matt Fagerson, but it could be close there. But that's how I see it, those 8. Into to the backs and scrum half, there is one guaranteed guy, and that is Jamison Gibson-Park, still playing at the peak of his game, and I think he'll probably start, to be honest. And then it's a bun fight from 2 from 3. It's good to have 4 because one of the guys is going to be on backup, of course. I think the second guy will be Ben White because he's just been so consistent in his outstanding play for Scotland, and he could play in any sort of way, I think. So he goes in there. And then is it Mitchell or Thomas Williams? And I must say, I thought Thomas Williams was going to shine in the Six Nations, even if Wales were going to struggle. I thought he'd make some great breaks, but it didn't quite happen for him. But when he plays for Gloucester, he's absolutely phenomenal. Mitchell's Six Nations form is probably slightly better, so I think that gets him the nod, and Thomas Williams on standby, but I wouldn't argue if you said Thomas Williams should go either. Then my most controversial call at 10, and it was always going to be controversial, whoever I picked, because you've got the coach's son, Owen Farrell, who could get picked, but I don't see it. He's only played a few games for Racing 92 and his form hasn't been great and they haven't been great, so I don't see it. But if you need an experienced guy to come in out of the blue, maybe for an injury replacement, maybe he is a good call just to land cold and get straight into it. But trying to get into Andy Farrell's head, maybe one of the issues is that Finn Smith and Sam Prendergast are incredibly talented but still very inexperienced. Do you throw them in to the Lions' den, literally with the Lions? Or do you go for the 2 experienced 10s that are available and playing for their country in Finn Russell and Marcus Smith? And I think they go for the 2. I think they go for the previous Lions of Russell and Smith. They will know each other a little bit. They play fairly similarly, I guess, and have those other guys on standby if needed, and have utility players to be a 3rd and 4th 10 if needed in the non-test matches. A bit of a punt, but I think maybe they go for 2 10s and backup. But let me know if you think they go for 3 or more potentially, or even Owen Farrell comes in. And I think having those 2 10s allows a lot more flexibility in the rest of the backs. I see 5 standout centres now that Ollie Lawrence is injured. In Aki, who's got another big tour in him, I think, before he retires. Hugh Jones and Tuipulotu could be an amazing partnership if, of course, Tuipulotu can get back fit, which I think he will. Henshaw looks a bit more of a 12 these days as he lost a bit of pace, but still a class act. And Ringrose, I think, goes as the out-and-out 13 now that Lawrence is injured. Then I'm going to say 5 specialist back 3 go. There's been a bit of a curveball with a Van der Merwe injury. He's definitely going to be injured when the selection is made for the squad, but if the doctors say he should be back in time, I think he will be picked because he is the strongest quick guy out there at the moment. He's still only 27, I think I saw, which is crazy to think he's been around for ages. So if the medics say he should recover, he'll be named, but they will have backup for him. And missing on this list are Darcy Graham and Mac Hansen, and I think they might be the backup for Van der Merwe, because I definitely see James Lowe and Tommy Freeman going. Kind of similar, I guess. Big guys who can offload, who can kick, who've got good skills, can make things happen, along with the pace and power of Van der Merwe, and the 2 out-and-out 15s of Kinghorn and Keenan, I think are absolutely untouched. So those 5, I'm pretty sure, will go. So a bit tough on Graham and Hansen. Fayewu Bosu's not going to come back from injury. But one guy who's maybe a bit of a dark horse is Tom Roebuck. If Van der Merwe's injured, maybe they go like for like and get the big, quick guy in there. Then I think that leaves 2 spots for a utility player. And I think Elliot Daly goes. His form in the Six Nations was outstanding. He's not making the mistakes he used to when he was younger, and his form for Saracens has been excellent as well. So fair play, a bit of a resurgence for him. He goes to cover centre, wing and fullback, and all that experience. Previous line, I think he could be a really good call. And then maybe the biggest bolter that I'm predicting is Tom Jordan. And is that a bolter? I don't know, because he was very solid in the centre, and he can cover 10 as well. So he's your 3rd 10, and Kinghorn is your 4th 10. Anyway, love to know what you think. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel already, that would be awesome. There's going to be loads of Lions videos, live streams, all that sort of thing. So love to have you on board, and I'll catch you next time.